Scribes part speech. 412 Mesopotamia.
Well, the first rap show I ever went to was a battle that I participated in when I was 15, 16 years old maybe, and like I lost to Noodles in the first round, and that was my first rap battle, first freestyle, first time I ever held a mic in front of a crowd. So it was definitely like some like Karate Kid shit. You know what I mean? Like I totally Justin threw the battle. Justin Strong threw. This was when Justin was an undergrad at Pitt. He was like, and he had like a house off Mayron maybe, Bates in South Oakland, like big backyard, and him and all of his bros lived there or whatever, his homies, and they were all like, you know, DJs and other shit like that, and he was throwing shows. It's like pre-Shadow Lounge, pre-everything. His cousin Chris Savito went to high school with us. Chris was like a super fanatical underground hip-hop head too. So like he put us down, and then Brick told us about it, and like we signed up. I remember Selector was there, like dude, everybody was there. Like everyone, dude. You know, it was like the most fucked up situation because like, you know, me and Ambush from the Scribes, who now is Timothy Brindle, who became like a noted Christian rapper, which is like another fucking story and a half. But we practiced in like utter seclusion for like a month. You know what I mean? Like up in his parents had a big ass house in Northumberland Street, which is close to my parents' big ass house on Kipling Road. And we would like sit in our like attics and shit and fucking like, you know, like practice for this battle, like not knowing that it was like a freestyle battle. Like we had no concept of like what the fuck we were getting into, because like, you know, like Scribble Jam had only been happening for like a year, and I hadn't even seen the magazine yet. Like, you know, there was no like, you know, even those famous battles that were happening, like Juice, Supernatural, Freestyle Fellowship, without utilizing the internet really. We didn't really fuck with the internet back then. I remember my little brother had to show me how to like look at rap on the internet. You know, we didn't know about like the format of battling. We just figured, you know, like Cannabis is a battle rapper, and Cannabis is clearly writing the shit down, so we'll just go there and write the shit down. And nah, this was like a real deal, like purist freestyle Pittsburgh event shit, where it's like you had like shit, I forget. I mean, you just had a bunch of people in there. Like you had Noodles, you had some other dudes too who were like good local heads who like freestyled all the time and like were not much older, but several years older and like a little bit more polished than we were. And yeah, it was some Karate Kid status. Like, I mean, we got absolutely like beasted. You know what I mean? Like, it was bad. And yeah, we went back to the drawing board. Yeah, I mean, it was a really rocky road because like, you know, like this was right as Eminem was reaching some type of prominence. Like, yeah, remember like when we were like putting this shit together, like Masai used to see Eminem like hanging out at like Rorschach when he went to New York. Like it's a story he used to tell me like 5-6 years later, like when like I would hang with him, be like, you realize like Eminem we used to like see that dude like hanging around like, you know, like random offices trying to get people to put out his 12-inch. You know, so this is like there was like very little acceptance of white people rapping, especially in Pittsburgh. Maybe more so in New York or LA, but like certainly not here. There were white people rapping, but we weren't like I'm not saying we were the first, and we certainly weren't the only. But it was a rough road to hoe. You know, like that's what got us good was that subsequent year we had to battle, or I had to battle, and Language and everyone else really, like pretty much every single other rapper in Alderdice. You know what I mean? Like heads would just, you know, throw themselves at you over and over and over again. So we would practice in Mike's crib on Bartlett. We had this thing called the Lab, where it was like we had like it's like the most like primitive like recording setup. Like it was like into headphones, Fisher Price microphone, like dual tape deck, graffiti fucking everywhere, like graffiti pieces everywhere, like fucking. Like, we had a wall of ugly people, like, we clipped out photos of ugly people and put them up, and then just, like, a whole, like, selection of, like, accoutrements and paraphernalia to smoke weed out of, and we just, like, focus there, and we just get, like, high as shit, and practice, and practice, and practice, and then I remember there was this Alderdice talent show, and we, like, signed up to do it, and the deal was, like, it was like Allderdice was very, very, I don't know how it is now, but when I went, it was very neighborhood oriented. There was a lot of beef between the neighborhoods. Like the Crip Blood era was kind of like fading out, but there were still like vestiges of that. There still had like Crip in a little bit, Blood in a little bit, but mostly it was like neighborhoods, like really like East Hills, Hazelwood, Homewood, fucking everybody. You know what I mean? Like the heads who were from Larimer and Wilkinsburg who somehow got in there versus everybody. Like white people not liking black people not liking white people. Like very, very tense situation. So at this talent show, like it was us, and then it was like a bunch of dudes from East Hills, a bunch of dudes from Penn Hills, dudes from Homewood, and like full scale from Wilkinsburg. So like our families came and shit like that. Like the principals were all there, and then like, you know, like the whole hood showed, not just one hood, like 7 or 8 hoods showed up. And this was like, again, like 97, 98 in Pittsburgh. So like, you know, you knew it was gonna happen. And like it just, I remember. All right, so like, we were rocking over the Scheme Team instrumental, Con Artists. That was like our jam. Again, like we would like find these groups and just listen to it over and over and over again because they were like so dope. When we were trying to like transmute their dopeness, you know, we get like really like fixated. You know what I mean? So I was like, we were going hard. I was actually just watching the shit with my cousin, my little cousin. I was like, we used to bump this shit in high school endlessly. But so we had this black female MC in our crew then, little known fact, called the Lady Lioness. This is some like Scribes fucking trivia, dude. And she like spit an acapella, and you know, heads went nuts. You know, she had a good delivery. She was much more polished than we were. Then the beat drops, and fucking Tim, who's like, you know, very, very white. Like, I mean, like he, you know, people used to call him Howdy Doody, like back in the day. Like, you know, he had like pale skin, like 5'8", like 105 pounds, dripping wet, blonde hair shaved down to like a buzz, already starting to go bald, and like enormous like Coke bottle glasses. So he comes like sauntering out there in like a you know, Echo outfit or something, and he has like a towel over his head, and like right when the beat drops, he goes boom and like pulls the towel off and picks his head up, and it's just immediate. It's just like boo, like the whole fucking crowd, dude. Like, I mean, it's just like the whole Allderdice auditorium, dude. Just like boo. I mean, dude, now it's funny. At the time, like, I mean, you literally just wanted to die. I mean, like, I remember, because then we had to go out there and do it, and like, you had to be game. Like, you couldn't just be like a bitch about it and leave. I mean, you could have, but what would that have done? So like, the DJ is playing this beat off a tape. There's no monitors. It sounds like you're swimming through the beat. It's like so off and at intervals, and like you can't understand what the fuck's going on. Like you can't even hear when you're supposed to come in. And like, this is a long song, like a posse cut. And of course, we all had like 50-bar verses, so we had to loop the beat again to go through. Because of course, everyone had to hear our amazing verses with no hook and offbeat, whatever. So like, you know, we got like another 5.5 minutes of this. Like, we're 10 seconds in, you know, and already this is happening. So, like, you know, he's, like, spitting, and he has this, like, choppy arm thing he does. It's, like, really awesome, actually. And, like, all of a sudden, ice cubes start, you know, coming up, and fucking, you know, a couple bottles. Like, you know, like, people are really booing, you know what I mean? Like, they're not about this and shit. And this is, like, you know, like Noodles is there just, like taunting us, you know? He's just, like, like, he's in the front row. He's, like, all pumped up and shit. But, like, he's actually, like, you know, he's actually just like these fucking guys. I can tell. Yeah, he's just looking at us like, oh my god. So we go through the entire song, and, like, it just goes downhill. Yeah, I mean, from there. Like, everybody is just, like, brutally mocked. And, the night culminated in, like, a fucking, like, riot where, like, there's like 40 cop cars and shit like that. Like, everyone's just like beating each other up. I remember this one girl from Hazelwood like smacked our vice principal, and like her vice principal's like bleeding and shit. And that was just like, yeah, that was like the, you know, that was like our second show. And like, it really, like, I think our third show was at Laga, and it was like just as bad. Like, I mean, it was like, dude, it was like a really, really brutal learning curve. It was only after I beat Noodles in that second battle, that was like a year later, where it was just like constantly practicing and just sucking, and Mo gave us a shot to come back out, and we killed that show. Like, at that point, we like had it together, where we actually were like a rap group. We recorded that EP, and like we started doing that shit, and like we killed Noodle. Like we did that battle. I beat Noodles. You know what I mean? And we killed the show, and it was like a really like crazy, like it was a good event for us at least. You know what I mean? Like it was dope. You know what I mean? And after that, like, I mean, not that we were like off to the races, because like, you know, to tell you the truth, dude, like UNMC is still there, like Stretch, Noodles, you know, like all these other dudes who were still like very like polished, like good, and we were like we were very good too. But, like, I mean, we were so fucking raw around the edges, dude. I mean, we were the square pegs in the round hole. You know what I mean? Like, we really had to, like, smooth it out.